Hello students, it's Mrs. Abbott here, and today we're going to learn how to turn a picture that we have taken into a sketch. And here's a picture I've taken here, and if I turn this eye off on this one, you can see we're going to turn it into a sketch. And then after we learn how to turn it into a black and white sketch, we're going to learn how to colorize it. So it's not a hard process. So what I'd like you to do first is I'm going to teach you a new way to open up pictures that you have taken. If you say File and then say Browse in MiniBridge, it will give you access to your desktop and your computer, and you will be able to go through and browse and find the pictures that you need. So you can get to your desktop here, your computer, C drive, all the drives you have access to will show up here, and then you'll just navigate to the proper place and you will find your pictures. This is where mine happens to be, under this folder on my desktop. And I'm going to find this picture that I'm looking for, and I'm going to select it. And Photoshop, this is the one I want, so I'm just going to double click it, and Photoshop will open up a new document right here as you see, and it will load that picture into it. And I'm going to minimize. If you click these little double arrows, it'll sort of minimize it, and you can click it again to open it. That's how you open and close it to get to different pictures. So it's a great way to just have access to all of your pictures in just this little MiniBridge interface. Okay, so I'm just going to close it now. So this is a picture I'm going to work with to turn into a sketch. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click Control J, which will make a duplicate of my background layer. Okay, and then I'm just going to turn off the eye on this background layer so that I have a saved copy of this picture that I'm not going to destroy. So I'm going to work with this one, this duplicate that I've just created. So the first step is to duplicate the background layer. And then the second step is we're going to desaturate this image. We're going to take all the color out of it first of all, because we're going to make it look like a black and white sketch. So there's several different ways to do this, but we're going to go ahead and just do it through the menus. We're going to go Image, Adjustments, and then we're going to desaturate down here. You could also do Shift-Control-U as a shortcut, but Image, Adjustments, and Desaturate. Now, notice that that took all the color out of the picture. So that's our next step. So the next thing we want to do is duplicate this desaturated copy. So again, I'm going to click Control and J and make a copy of my desaturated layer. Okay, and then, so now we have three layers. We have our desaturated layer, a copy of it, and we have our original photo untouched with visibility turned off. So now on this copy of the desaturated layer, we're going to invert the image. Okay, so I'm just going to turn off this now. I'm going to work with this copy of this desaturated image, and I'm going to say Image, Adjustments, and I'm going to find my invert here. And the shortcut would be Control-I. Okay, now what it did was it inverts the colors on our image, or in our case, the brightness values, and it makes the light areas dark and the dark areas light, and it sort of leaves us with the photo negative effect. It almost looks like a negative photo. Or negative, if you remember the old photography before digital. And then the next thing we're going to do after we have this inverted negative effect is we're going to change the blend mode to color dodge. So remember, blend modes are up here. I'm selected on this same inverted layer, and I'm going to change it to color dodge. Okay, and then changing the blend mode of the inverted layer from normal to color dodge. Now, this, I need to turn this back on. Don't turn that layer off. Turn that visibility on. So notice what has happened. The color dodge has mostly created just all white. You'll have a few, depending on your picture, you might have a few black areas, but it's mostly going to be white. Yours might be completely white. Okay, and that's okay. Don't panic. That's how it's supposed to look. Okay, at this step. But the next thing we're going to do is this step is where we're actually going to create the sketch effect. So we're going to go up and we're going to apply a filter. So we're going to go to filter, and we're actually going to choose blur and Gaussian blur. Okay, blur and Gaussian blur. Now, this opens the Gaussian blur filter dialog box. Okay, and we're going to create the sketch effect by blurring this layer. But we're going to need to set our radius slider at the bottom and start dragging it to see how far we need to drag it up will depend on our picture. Okay, and we should have preview to see. Okay, and if you click and drag and you let go, it'll show you what it looks like. So that's at 2.2 pixels. That's at 4.9. Do you see how you can see? Now, do you see how you're getting the sketch effect? This is at 10. So you pick what percentage or what do you want the radius to be, depending on what you think looks more like a sketch. Okay, and so yours might be a different number than mine. Okay, I might like a higher number than what you like. So right now I'm just playing with it and I'm trying to pick what one that I like. I kind of like somewhere between 12 and 14. Let's see, 13 looks pretty good. 10's not enough, 17's too much. I kind of like 13. Let me go down one more. Yeah, I think I like 13 the best. So I'm going to do 13 because, again, 13 might not look like a sketch effect with yours. So you're going to have to figure out what radius works best on yours. I'm going to go with 13 and I'm going to say OK. And already we have a really cool sketch effect going here. But we can do one more thing to kind of add to it if we want to even get it a little bit better looking like the black and white sketch. So what we're going to do next is we're going to merge these two visible layers into a third layer above these two. So let me show you. Hold down the Alt. So find the Alt key and click and hold it down until I tell you to release it. Now go to Layer, and you got to click and hold it and say Merge Visible. You're still holding the Alt key. I'm still holding the Alt key. Now notice what happened. I can let go of the Alt key now. What it did was it took these two layers that were visible and it merged them into a layer, a fourth layer above these two layers. And it merged them. So this layer is a merged layer of these two layers, but I didn't lose those two layers. So holding down the Alt while I say Merge Visible will do that for me. So remember, you can't let go of the Alt until it actually creates it. Otherwise, it'll just merge the visible layers. So after I have created this fourth layer here, which is a merge of these two here, the next thing I'm going to do is change the blend mode on it. I'm going to change the blend mode to multiply, okay? And you notice how it darkened it. And then I'm going to click on the opacity and I'm going to set mine to around 50%. Okay, you can play with yours and see what percentage you like. Again, we're just kind of increasing that sketch effect. I'm going to do around 50. Okay, so now it's really looking nice. At this point, our sketch effect is complete. Okay, so we have a black and white sketch of our original photo at this point. But now I'm going to show you how to colorize it and add the original colors from the original photo into this sketch. So what we're going to do now is we're going to click on the background layer and I'm going to make a copy of it. So Control J again to make a copy and then go ahead and make that visible. And then I'm going to click and drag that background copy all the way to the top. Okay. There we go. There we go. all the way to the top. And of course, since I had the visibility turned on, my sketch is still there underneath it. But what I'm going to do now to do the color is I'm going to change the blend mode on this layer to color. Okay, so change the blend mode all the way down here at the bottom to color. Now notice what happened. I've got all my color from this photo into my sketch. Now you can adjust the opacity to your liking because I think that's too much color for the sketch. So you can play with it and find the percentage that you like. I think I kind of like, let me see, around 53%. I think I might up it just a little, maybe I might go up to 60%. Whoops. My slider's not working. Here we go. There we go. So I think, look at my picture there. I'm thinking around 61% looks good. Okay, so now that's my colorized sketch. That's my black and white sketch. So now you have learned how to turn a photo that you originally had, that you've taken, and you've learned how to turn that into a black and white sketch. Let's see, there you've learned how to turn it into a black and white sketch, and then you've learned how to turn it into a colorized sketch. So this concludes this tutorial.